Good evening, folks. Freddy Vazquez, Basement Politics. Happy Tuesday. It's August 30th, 2020. Let's take a look at Yonkers politics then and now. Join me. Good evening, folks. It's Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics. Yonkers politics then and now with Shanae Williams. Today is Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. Good evening. How you doing tonight? Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Excuse me while I adapt my little head earpiece thing here. Today, I want to talk about, I want to go over an interview that Shanae Williams did back in 2020 on the Yonkers Voice. And I want you folks to hear what she said. And then I want to go over it, right? And let's see what's happening now. What's happening today in Yonkers politics, right? But before I get into that, I want to talk about yesterday's a community meeting that I attended over at the Dayspring Community Center on Nodine Hill. Shanae Williams, who I will be speaking or showing you guys, attended, as well as Corazon. They were the only two Yonkers city council members to attend, or elected officials to attend. However, Simmer Brandon was there, and someone else from Andrea Stewart Cousins' office. There were about maybe 8 to 10 people in attendance. I was there, of course, and also United 914 United, excuse me, an organization that was founded by a young man named Jonathan Alvarez. And I commend what that was being done there. They wanted to speak about community issues. The organization works to engage members of the community, specifically those that may be at risk or already joining gangs or have joined gangs, and may have committed crimes, and, trying to help people change their ways. So they put that together to have a conversation. The elected officials is why you see me do that, because they just, again, it's the same old spiel. Like, I've heard this before at other meetings, and it's always like, well, it's good that we're having the conversation and that's a start. And, we're having the conversation and that's a start. Well, we're always at the start and we're always having the conversation. And so I didn't want to speak and interject and say anything, because I didn't want to seem like I was trying to, take over. I was just letting people speak, but then they asked me to say some things, and that's kind of what I said. And I said that, I understand what everyone's saying here. Some of the concerns were, having more Black and Latinos on the police, force, right? And, and one thing that she said, the council member said, was that, they need more qualified Black and Latinos, right? And I get that. You don't just put people on because of their color, simply just to fill a quota. They have to qualify. And so one of the things I said was, well, there should be a program, right? Because, there's a need, obviously, to help, certain individuals qualify. And this is not just for Latinos and Blacks. Obviously, it would be open to everyone, but just something that they would prepare to prepare Yonkers residents, right? Yonkers residents, not people coming in from the city or other departments wanting to work in Yonkers, or coming in temporarily, but Yonkers residents that have been here, students that maybe after high school want to join this program, so they can prepare both physically and academically to take the police exam and pass and do well. And so, I said that's a great idea, and that's something that it takes the elected officials to have to actually implement. And so while the community members can, come up with ideas and they can do certain things as well, it takes the officials to actually make things happen at times, and many times, and it takes an effort by them to implement a lot of these things and not just continue to have the conversation. Right. And so, I wanted to just mention that because, I didn't want to seem like I was attacking the elected officials. I said, I want to attack that. It's not, they blame Mike Spano. Actually, I said, well, what if they have their hands tied? There's only so much that the council people can do because of the mayor. Right. It's the mayor, and You know, and true, it's a strong mayor city government. However, I mean, they could have sent the real message back when they had an opportunity to override the mayor's veto on affordable housing, something that you'll be mentioning here with Shanae Williams. And then, so as I left, you know, something interesting as I left, the individual Jonathan who founded the organization, you know, followed me out and pulled me to the side. And I can tell he was not happy about whatever it was he wanted to speak to me about. You know, he was looking for somewhere to speak privately, I guess. But you know, I was actually having to get out to meet with someone. So I said, no, you know, we could meet right here. You know, I just didn't seem. But you know, I guess he was upset about a post that I had put up, right? And it was a friend, you know, someone maybe in a family member of his, someone that he really cared for, and the post, you know, was not necessarily something positive, although it was information that was given to me by many sources actually. And so, which is why I shared it. And so you know, this is the second time someone has kind of approached me at a you know, some kind of meeting or something like that. And you know, look, like I said, I'm always available to speak. You can reach out to me. We can set up, if you want to speak in person, we can definitely set up a time and stuff. You know, to just, you know, be aware of that, because sometimes things may not, you know, come off right, you know, seem a certain way. Maybe they're not, but you know, hopefully I think we have an understanding, you know. And so I apologize to him if I offended anyone or if I was mistaken. And definitely if that's something that is incorrect, which I will, you know, I'm actually working now to verify, I will actually correct it and, you know, and delete it from the page. Okay. Because I'm not looking to put false information, but I did get it from sources that have been correct before, and multiple sources that have been correct before. So you know, so I just want to say that again, anyone can always reach out to me and we can speak, you know. But anyway, moving on, I want to bring up Shanae Williams from District 1. So please, folks, help me welcome Councilwoman Shanae Williams, District 1 representative, and her partner in crime, Mr. Ruros there. And listen, Ruros, they don't come on my show, so I have to use your interviews. But you know, hey, I'm giving you props there, right? So anyway, she talks about several things here. This is from an interview from 2020, right? And so I want to go over what was happening then, some of the things that she said, and that's compared to how things are now. And again, we can see how things are playing out and the direction that really, you know, things are going to actually head just from what she says then and what's happening now. So first, she starts off with the reshuffling of the council back in 2020, and again, there was problems then. Like, I mean, this is 2 years ago, and it seems like it was the same. You know, like when they reshuffled and reorganized. I should say reorganization meeting, right? When they reorganized the council just recently. I mean, I don't think they've ever gotten along. So here what she had to say.
Council meeting. I was there.
Reorganization, correct.
The reorganization. I could feel the tension and the vibration on voices.
Yeah. You see the tension and vibration?
Tasha Dia's voice. The council, the majority council now a member, Coração Pineda. And I felt it, and I'm sure that a lot of people in Yonkers felt it, because we were broadcasting it live. What was going on? Is that some kind of a back deal going on? Because look, you had a good point. If we have the majority Democratic, why do we have to give key positions to the Republican Party? That just doesn't make sense. Can you explain?
Well, so the way it works is we have 7 members on the council, and one person is chosen by the council to be the majority leader, one person is chosen to be the minority leader. And typically, it makes sense that you have majority, you have Republicans and Democrats voting together on this, because we've never really had a super majority. But with the fact we do now, the fact that we have a super majority, I thought it would make the most sense to have the majority chosen by the majority caucus, which is the Democrats. Unfortunately, not everyone saw eye to eye on that, and that's the result that we see. I'm, you know, totally fine with Corazon being majority leader. She is a senior member on the council. However, the process in which everything took place was not correct.
So really quick, what she's saying there is that we have a super majority, right? And so they felt that Corazon did not need to go over for one to the Republican side to get support, and also that key positions should not have gone to Republicans, or even in particular John Rubel, who was very recently a Republican before he switched to Democrat, and she mentions that there also, and he was actually given the position of the chair of real estate committee, and right, so she was upset with that because she obviously felt he was really a Republican, not a Democrat. And a lot of the developments that are going on, if not all the developments that are going on in her district, just about, or also Tasha Diaz district or Corazon. So she felt that it should have been one of them, possibly her, and they had the supermajority to do it. However, Corazon was thinking about herself and wanting to become the majority leader. So, but I'll explain a little more. This was all really a game that was a strategy that was being played.
It was an issue for me personally, only because I do not feel that she needed to go to the Republicans to get her votes. She could have worked with us within the caucus and work out the issues that we had, but she decided to go and make deals before we even met as a caucus. And that's the issue.
Well, that's one of the problems. You did not need her to go across the border. I think
she could have had the 4 votes within the 5 Democrats. Absolutely.
She could have had the votes within the Democrats.
Right.
She did not need. So what was the reason why she went across the border? It's good to work across the border with the other party as
across the aisle
when necessary.
So I told Corazon I would have initially supported her for leadership if she had the support of the caucus. Specifically Mike Hader and Tasha Diaz. And it became apparent to me that she did not have their support. And so that is why she decided to go and get the support elsewhere. That is why she decided to give budget committee away to Republican Anthony Morante. That is why she decided to give real estate to John Rubel, who has no real development in his district, when all of the development is happening in my district, her district, and Tasha Diaz's district, which is on the south side of Yonkers. And so that was also something that is troubling to me. But I think for the sake of, just goodwill and just working together to get through and get the issues addressed that we need to address, I think it is important that we just put all of it aside and just work together and accept John Rubel for the new Democrat that he is.
So I personally have no issues with John Rubel, Mr. Morante. I have no issues with anyone.
I think they're wonderful people. I don't agree with their governing style, and I don't believe in some of the issues that they hold dear. I think we don't see eye to eye in certain things. Like, for example, I don't see eye to eye with John Rubel on affordable housing, and that's a fact. We've certainly had some conversations in the past about that, and he seems to have a very different idea of how to solve the affordable housing crisis that I have been talking about for the past couple.
Well,
so basically, Corazon Pineda wanted to become city council president, but she was told behind the scenes that she would become majority leader if she, did I say majority president? Majority leader if she named John Rubel or helped John Rubel get in there for the real estate chair, even though he had his district has no real development going on. Everything's really happening in District 1 by the waterfront. Now, remember yesterday when I did the podcast and I showed the meeting that about the affordable housing, in which they were debating which committee to put the housing, or the new discussion of the affordable housing, whether it was the legislative and codes or real estate committee, and Corazon, who was the chair of the legislative and codes, was pushing it off onto the real estate committee. And it didn't make sense if she really was supporting affordable housing. So they got John Rubel into the real estate chair, and then they pushed off the affordable housing ordinance, the new one, the 20% that they wanted to increase it to, off to the real estate committee where John Rubel chaired, and he wasn't, and as Shanae Williams said, really supportive of it. He's more in support of the developers. And so that was the plan from get-go, and that's how Corazon became the majority leader.
Well, Councilwoman, that's exactly what the problem is.
Right.
Mr. Rubel was a Republican until not long ago.
Right.
He voted.
And now he's a conservative Democrat.
Now it's a conservative Democrat, but he always voted in matters of housing according to the line of the Republican line. So now you have a Democrat majority, and you're giving a position of power to somebody who was a conservative Democrat. It just doesn't make much sense to us.
Well, when you want to secure your votes, in her mind, it made perfect sense. She had to do what she had to do, and I'm not knocking it. I just don't think that it was good leadership skills being exuded by her. I think she could have done better and tried to work out the issues that Tasha and Cater and myself might have had with her before she went and made those deals with the Republicans.
And when she says that, because Tasha never really liked Corazon from get-go. Never really liked Corazon from get-go. She always been beefing with Corazon. I don't know what that's about. She says Corazon's jealous of her. She said people have been jealous of her. I don't really know. It's petty stuff, and it needs to stay out of the city council meetings and not a city council period. And this is what I mean about the pettiness and the fighting. And these are 4 women of color. We're supposed to be having, a lot more from the 4 of them. We were so excited about it, but they have not been able to get along back then. Well, now we have 4, but back then there were 3, and they have not been able to get along, and that still persists, right? So Corazon was looking out for herself. Remember, Corazon, from what I hear, wants to run for mayor. And now we can see some of the decision-making that, Corazon has, made in the past. Do we want someone that makes those kind of decisions? Doesn't want to take on the housing ordinance in her committee, dumping it off to Rubo, someone everyone knew wasn't in support of it, basically, making it even more difficult to pass instead of doing everything you can to assure that the city of Yonkers got a new ordinance, and it was 20%, which is what the people wanted, which is what you were supposed to do. Right. So I want to talk about that, the affordable housing. Let's see what she says about that.
Why do you think it was a good idea to vote to extend?
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. This is the extension of term limits.
Without consulting.
I'm sorry. This is the extension of term limits. So this is when they voted to extend term limits. Right. And so Shanae Williams says she's in favor of term limits, but she felt that, that she was also in support of having more term, more time in the position or in the role of whatever elected official, so she doesn't think there should be, unlimited, no term limits, but they should have a longer time in office. And that's why she voted for it. But here she has to say.
The constituents. Did you and your council members not let the citizens of Yonkers decide instead of deciding amongst yourselves?
Okay, so, he's a valid question. Why do I think it was okay to vote for term limits? And I've answered this time and again. However, I'll just reiterate in case he missed it. I voted for term limits because I do believe that it's important to have term limits in place, but it's more sensible to have longer terms and shorter terms, because that way, if you are elected by the body of people that you represent, and you're doing a good job in their eyes, and they should be able to say if they want you to continue on. And if you start something and you are elected by them, then you can finish that job. Term limits doesn't take that vote away from the residents. If you are not doing a good job, then you can get voted out. That's the way that the voting process works. So me voting for term limits, it wasn't a secret. It wasn't me just deciding without talking to constituents, because we did have public hearings. Folks did come and speak. I did have conversations, and emails were sent, both to me and my colleagues. So I hope that answers your question. It is, something that I think, you might disagree, but I think it was the right thing to do for the future of Yonkers. And I'm not saying that I voted for terms because I want to have a safe position here for the next, 12 to 14 years. That's not the case. The case is we should have options. And if you like what someone's doing, they should be able to run if they're encouraged to do so. And if you like what they're doing, you vote for them. If you don't, then you won't.
So picking up on what.
So again, she says that, I'm not in favor of not having term limits. I just think people or elected officials should have longer terms so they can finish what they started. And that seems to be the theme now that we hear, today. And those who are concerned that term limits may be eliminated are saying that we keep hearing, the mayor say, we got to finish what we started. Although he's saying that he's probably not going to run, but he also says that, he still has work to do. There still needs to be, work needs to be completed, right? And he wants to see it through. And some of the insiders, close supporters, are hoping for that too. They want to see the mayor, quote unquote, finish it and see it through. Whatever that is, a bunch more developments, studios and MGM Grand and stuff like that, which we'll talk about in a little bit also. But will Shanae Williams support a term extension this time around, or will she change her mind in regards to elimination of terms? Right. So we'll see. And she says she spoke to constituents and people like that. Did she speak to anyone? I mean, I don't know. I don't remember that. But does anyone out there remember? Did she hold any town halls or send out any letters or ask people for their input and what they thought in regards to extending term limits? Did she really ask the people? Is that what the people wanted? I don't remember. Other good candidates can finish the job. It's all grandstanding. All good candidates can finish the job. It's all grandstanding.
Shania just said, remember, the vote was not on eliminate term limits, was on extending term limits.
Right.
Those are two different things. But you have the last decision. If
that we do have term limits in place because the people wanted it, but the number of terms really is not, it wasn't, that was what we voted on in extending the terms. Instead of having 2 terms, we now have 3.
Now, it just came to my mind, and I'm sorry if I have to go back a little bit to what happened on the last council meeting.
So, so again, she says she didn't vote to eliminate terms. She voted to extend the terms, but she is in favor of term limits. She does believe they're there for a reason. I do too. I'm in favor of term limits. I think there's a reason why, our forefathers, created term limits and stuff like that. They should not be changed. It should not be changed at all. They should not be changed. That's just my opinion in general. It's not, in regards to anyone specifically, but that's just my opinion.
Our sources are saying that a meeting took place or was requested back in November to discuss exactly
this is important.
What happened on the last council meeting.
Mm-hmm.
There was a long time waiting for that meeting to happen. It never happened. Then on that day of the hearing, all of a sudden, okay, we can have the meeting this morning. But to a lot of people,
I would have preferred not to have the meeting the morning of. I've tried to have the meeting a few days before.
So that happened.
But
you
yes,
confirm.
the new leader and John Ruba did not want to meet before, I guess because of the holidays. I'm not sure what the reason was, but their schedule wasn't available until the morning of.
Some people call these a rigged election.
You guys can draw your own conclusions.
You draw your own conclusion because meetings are made to give you the tools to digest, to vote in a way that you understand the issue.
Right.
It seems like that meeting, the decision of the outcome of that meeting was already preset.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. We walked into that meeting knowing that all of our requests and concerns really wasn't necessarily too important. It wasn't going to be addressed because we already knew through the grapevine that deals were made for certain folks to get whatever committees and things like that. So.
Wow. So there you go. Yeah, you hear it from Shanae Williams. Deals were made prior to the meeting, prior to them voting. People already had agreed what positions they were going to be given. And why was that? And who were the people in those meetings? And is that happening now? Absolutely. So going back to what she's saying, it was prearranged. John Rubo was going to become the chair of the real estate committee. Corazon was going to support them and the Republicans, and they were going to make her majority leader. not something Tasha Diaz and Mike Cater were a big fan of at the time. But they wanted John Rubel to sit on the chair. He is developer friendly. They wanted him on the chair. And I spoke about this the other day in regards to the infiltration of departments and the city council of developer friendly individuals like the zoning board. Also with the recent appointments, removal and then appointments, and getting certain deals approved, even though they were not going to be approved initially. So they're removing people and putting people in the right places, putting the pieces where they need to be. And so John Rubel had to chair that real estate committee in order to continue to make their. And so I look at the things now, you're right, when they have meetings and they come and no one really questions anything, even like the appointments, for example. The appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals, when they appointed Gene Tickle and Anthony Gelage. In order to do that, they had to remove two individuals that had been there for over 30 years. The senior most members, or two of the three senior most members. The men that had the most knowledge that were going to look out for the best interests of the people of Yonkers, and they had them removed without even notifying them. And so when they had the meeting at the city council chambers to approve the appointment of the two individuals I just mentioned, they all just voted yes. None of them asked any questions. None of them made a comment as to why were we adding two new people when we already have members on the zoning board, and who are we removing, and why are we removing those two individuals of all people? Why not Hector Lopez, who seems to sit there and bite his nails during meetings, who may not even live in Yonkers, or others? Not one question. They didn't even ask the individuals, why should you be appointed? What are your qualifications? Why would you be good for the position? Nothing. Nothing. No question. So that was already predetermined. That was predetermined before they got there. They knew it was going to happen. They're going in. That's why Shanae Williams now, and I like Shanae Williams a lot better back then, but it seems like she kind of just like, can't beat them, join them type of deal to a certain extent. Right? Because she used to fight more, it seems like. She was really like, fiery about things. And she would say things, as you see now, was predetermined. But now that's how everything is. Shanae Williams doesn't even come prepared. Sometimes she doesn't even know who the people that she's voting on to appoint, because she knows it's already predetermined. And that's not okay, Yonkers. That's not okay. I want to get to the MGM Grand. She talks about that a little bit. In the casino.
I still haven't heard a word from Lionsgate personally. I have never.
And Lionsgate.
I don't know how accurate that is at this point, but I take your word for it. You're everywhere. You know what?
I heard they're coming, and when they come, they're going to be
in my district.
In your district.
It would be great because that would mean jobs for the residents here. But
we don't have anything solid yet to say. Okay.
Nothing tangible. Nothing on my desk.
Now, what about MGM? I know it's not your district.
Mm-hmm.
But
well,
it's in your city.
It affects everyone in Yonkers. Exactly. Because a lot of people, we travel to the casino to work or to enjoy the services that they have there. So it is important for every Yonkers resident, I think, that we have this conversation. What is your question about MGM? What do you want?
No, not question. My point was, I was saying that the city of Yonkers is growing so quickly. There is people moving in. We are making Yonkers the place for new companies to come.
Right.
MGM is coming. Right. Lionsgate might be coming, and there is other.
Yes, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna make a quick announcement.
By all means, yeah. Is an exclusive
tomorrow,
for Yonkers Voice?
Well, I don't think in the first.
So she didn't even know. She was saying, I don't know, but I'm sure she knew about it. And she talks about the jobs that it might bring and stuff like that. But what about the money that it's going to generate for the city? Empire City Casino generated supposedly $19 million a year for the city of Yonkers, but I hear that it was initially supposed to be a percentage of the amount that they generated, which was hundreds of millions of dollars. But somehow they ended up settling for an amount, and which was 19 million, and that wasn't enough. I mean, there could have been a lot more money had we went with the percentage. Yonkers would have received so much more, but even still, 19 million. Where was that money allocated to? That was supposed to go to schools, and I don't know if that's schools. I don't know if they're getting anything. Anyway, let's. Then she goes on to talk about the biggest issues in her district, and I want to go over this for sure.
It's not the same as the Fifth District and others. You have problems that they don't have there.
That's right.
Or better yet, they have much less of those certain problems that you have here. What is the most important issue in your
In the first district, certainly in the downtown area with the homeless population and in the number of people on drugs and so on and so forth, and that's wandering the streets in the square. That is something that I know that our police department is working on. I've seen them; they've been around walking, driving, and I think it's really a good thing with our under the leadership of our new commissioner. However, we still have to find a way to provide real low income and affordable housing for residents. We need more services for the mentally ill. We need so much more, and we need our partners in the county to help us address that. And that's when we'll see, you know, things really change for residents in my district. Is when all partners on all levels of government come together and work together to solve this issue.
So guys, let me just read the address.
So she says that the homeless problem. This is 2020. Okay, you see how Yonkers is down there in her district. It's gotten worse. I mean, people are literally, camping out in the same area. I saw a guy today passed out on a bench in front of the Yonkers Christian Academy. Is it the church there in the school on Lamartine and North Broadway? Passed out. I see a lot of people sleeping on benches, where the bus stops. I see a lot of people just hanging out at the bus stops throughout the day, sitting there. And after a while, you see the same people, and it's because they have nowhere to go. So they hang out at the bus stops, just because it looks like you got somewhere you're waiting for a bus, right? Instead of just standing around. But there are people all around, just standing around with their book bags, their carts. You see them, they're all their belongings, their possessions, everything that they own, hanging out in front of stores, especially in Getty Square, throughout the downtown, sometimes in front of the post office, asking folks for change as they come in and out. And what have she done in the past 2 years? And I know it's a team effort, takes the county. Christopher Johnson represents the area on the county. And what has he done to address the homeless problem, the drug addiction problem that she mentions? A lot of people are addicted to drugs down there. You can smell it in the air. You can see the people addicted, on drugs, obviously high, holding themselves up by some fence. And it's all over. And she's also chair of the mental health and community services or something like that committee, a community and mental health service committee she chairs. And what have they done? What have they done? Everything has just been about the developments. And what I see is they're just going to build it up and push everyone out. That's the solution. They're not going to build any more affordable housing. They killed that. They killed that. She has done zero for the homeless, done zero to push affordable housing, all fluff and smoke screens. That's right, Johnny Limo. In fact, she said affordable housing was her baby. Was it not your brothers who drafted, Mike Cater, that drafted the affordable housing? I know she did add to it or something to that effect. And I think that where Mike Cater messed up was in giving it to her and saying, here, you introduce it and maybe it'll get passed that way. Right? I think that was a mistake. They all killed the baby. Yeah, especially Tasha Diaz. Sure did. I would play a little more of this.
What are the things that you want to address first for your district? The most important things.
These are
they're
things
all
that I
important.
campaigned on. These are things that I started to work on 2 years ago. Like I mentioned with the housing issue, dealing with the homeless. That is still a problem for me, and that is still something that I'm.
And it's still a problem.
And I'm going to try to find creative ways and creative solutions to address them. But certainly, the main thing that I really would love to get done in this new year or the next 4 years is to strengthen our affordable housing ordinance. That is still very much on my agenda. It is something that I've actually just had a conversation minutes before our meeting here with my new colleague Tasha Diaz and with the Council President Mike Hader, and I'm sure we'll be discussing it within our caucus and as a whole on the City Council. We have to provide more affordable housing. We have to. People need housing. It is their fundamental right, and I'm not going to give up on that. Another big issue that I really have to focus on is our education district, making sure that our children get the services that they need. In the near future, I'll be going to Albany with my colleagues and we'll be talking to our state delegation there. They've always been helpful in the past. Certainly was last year and the year before in making sure that we were able to balance our budget and make sure that we didn't make any cuts to education. So that's very important to me, and I'm hoping that they can help us again. But we really need to find a more permanent solution instead of just like, one-shot deals.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for the help that they've given, and I think that we do need to work with our mayor and with our state delegation to do more for our students. Outside of that, I really would love to just focus on our parks. The parks in my district are in very poor condition.
Especially in your district.
Yes, whether it's Park Street Park or Trevor Park,
Riverdale,
Locust Hill. We have to provide for the residents here and make them feel safe in their neighborhood. And it goes with the little things such as, just renovating and enhancing our parks, for example. There's so many different issues, Rue, but those three things: quality of life issues, keeping our streets clean, making sure that that people have homes that they can go home to every day, making sure that we are spending the monies correctly within our school district so that our kids will benefit more than anything. That's what's really important to me, and that's what I have to find ways of addressing them.
Now,
that was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. Shanae Williams makes about, maybe $60,000, some $60-some thousand as a part-time job. It's a part-time job. She gets pretty much a brand new car, doesn't have to pay for it, free gas, free insurance, easy pass, and other perks. Dinners during Tuesdays night meetings, and hookups at law firms, connections, information. She does pretty well. But what have you done, Shanae? You said a mouthful there. In 2 years. The homeless population is worse. Affordable housing has not gotten any better. The housing ordinance was never passed. And we have not heard anything about it from you again. Nothing. You said that was a priority for you in the next 4 years. Well, it's been 2 years. Are we going to see something in another 2 years? And will that be when all of the developments are already up? So now any new ordinance will be for future developments if you can find any more land in Yonkers to develop. They totally screwed the people. And it was all a plot, a game from the beginning. And you see, she says Tasha Diaz was champion affordable housing. She's with me on this, Mike Cater. But the only one that was truly for affordable housing was Mike Cater. That's why he's not here. If Mike Cater was full of crap like the rest of them, he would still be city council president. But they had to get rid of him because, again, it's all about putting the right pieces in the right places. And he wasn't the right piece in the right place. So they went and got Lakeisha Collins Bellamy from Macy, from housing, because she had a connection to Wilson Kimball, who's leading the charge in all of these luxury developments. Her job, over $100-some thousand a year, is to focus on low-income housing, making sure that people have vouchers and there are enough units so they can give vouchers to everyone rather than hold a lottery for a waiting list. But instead, she's been assuring that luxury developments go up, even if she has to put pressure to have people like Jeffrey Landsman and others removed from the zoning board in order to do so. She's not concerned with affordable housing or low-income housing. And if Shanae was truly honest, she would call it out. She knows why. She knows what's going on. Call it out. Name the people. Name the names. Tell them why, Shanae. Why is it that the blacks and Latinos are being removed from your district? Why? And sure, you have some blacks coming in. You have the artsy blacks and stuff like that. But the majority of the blacks that are from that community are not going to be there. And they're getting pushed down. Your focus is luxury apartments, luxury developments. That's what's happening now. So you said all of this stuff 2 years ago, and nothing's changed, not even with education. The schools are still in poor condition. Parents are paying how much in taxes? $8,000, $10,000, $15,000, and their kids are sitting in classrooms without AC, in tank tops, sweating, coats on in the winter because the heating doesn't work. Overcrowded schools or classrooms, there's not enough room, and they don't have enough money to renovate these schools. And what have you done to address that? Everything that you guys have talked about since I've been doing basement politics has been about the developments. All the developments going up on the waterfront, groundbreakings. That's it. You come to the meeting yesterday, and I appreciate you being there. But you and Corazon look completely bored. You guys look completely bored. Tell me these, on your phone while people are talking. That was rude to be texting while individuals are talking. That was rude. I'm going to show you guys. Thought that was rude. It just didn't want to be there. See? It just didn't want to be there. This is how they really feel about the people. This is how they go Simma Brandon. Let me just show you. I'm sorry. There you go. Both of them texting. Not even looking at the woman speaking. Oh, they're playing with their nails actually this time. Look, that's even worse. Right? So it's not even an important text. Maybe your kids, maybe a husband, maybe something, an emergency, business, work. No, you're playing with your nails, the both of you, because you're not even interested. You're not concerned with the average people of the city of Yonkers. And you're right, Shanae. It doesn't matter if they extend term limits or even eliminate terms, because the people can still vote them out. And that's what it's going to take. We're going to have to vote them out. Cater was the only one for the people. Yeah, Cater definitely was for the people. I mean, his biggest issue was the developments. He wanted to slow that down. He wanted to focus on affordable housing, right? And they didn't want that. He had to go. So they got Lakeisha Collins Bellamy in there. So when you're not doing what you're told, you get removed. And I believe Shanae and Tasha are both now doing as they're told. They don't want to be removed. Tasha Diaz totally killed the housing ordinance. Keep preaching, brother. Thank you. Did someone at the meeting say something about that to them? No, nobody. They were on their phone. At one point, one of them walks out for a conversation for like 10 minutes and comes back in. Corazon left early. She usually comes late. Those two come late and leave early to events all the time. I be peeping them, right? So they don't really care. They said all that crap, about the affordable housing. And, that's my biggest thing. I want to get that accomplished in our educational system. But none of that is happening. None of that is happening. Why? Because it's all a game. Like she said, it's all predetermined. Folks, it's all a show. It's all a show. And I want to show you a clip from News 12 here. Actually, I got it up. I'm going to show you a clip here from News 12 from 2012. It's important to go back and look at what happened back then.
The former Yonkers Republican Party leader and Anthony Mangone, a well-connected hawk.
This is a video clip from 2012. It shows Zahi Jerris and Anthony Mangone coming out of court. This is in relation to the Ridge Hill scandal and the bribery charge and conviction for political corruption. Sandy Anabi was the majority leader, a Democrat. And she got sentenced to 2 years in prison for accepting bribes to change her vote after she was not in support of the Ridge Hill project. And then she was. Like Tasha Diaz was in support of the affordable housing, and then she wasn't. And one thing they have in common, or many actually things, but one of many things they have in common is the individual, Zahi Jerris here, that is responsible for their political careers.
Zay Jerris, the former Yonkers Republican Party leader, and Anthony Mangone, a well-connected Hawthorne lawyer, coming out of the federal courthouse in White Plains after their arraignment on federal corruption and bribery charges Wednesday.
These guys shouldn't be anywhere near, if they're doing, in fact, what it's claimed that they're doing, shouldn't be anywhere near public officials, public office.
Attorney Mike Edelman, a Republican strategist and News 12 commentator, is not surprised both men were named in a conspiracy to sway former Yonkers City Councilwoman Sandy Anabi's vote on the Ridge Hill project. Jerris was asked to step down as Yonkers GOP chair back in 2007 by Yonkers Mayor Phil Amicone and others.
Did you hear what the gentleman said, Mike Edelman? These individuals should be nowhere near elected officials if they did what they are being charged with, and they were charged and convicted, so they did it. They did what they said they were doing. Political corruption. So he said no elected official should be near these individuals, yet and still, to this very day, our elected officials are around these individuals. They are the ones that are making the decisions that Shanae Williams said were predetermined before she went into the meeting that day. So for everyone who thinks that Shanae Williams, Tasha Diaz, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, Corazon Pineda, John Rubo, Anthony Moranti, and Mike Breen are independent individuals, you're sadly mistaken. They might show some signs of independence, more so than others, but ultimately they play the game. They fool the people of the city of Yonkers. It is all smoke and mirrors. The housing ordinance, the veto, and the failed override was all planned from day one. John Rubo knew that Mayor Spano was going to veto the housing ordinance, which is why he ended up changing his no vote to yes. It was just before elections. He was going up a super progressive like Carlos Burgos. He had to show people he was in support of affordable housing. But he knew the mayor was going to veto it. And then Tasha Diaz would not vote to override that veto. Tasha, darling, this is what it is. This is what you have to do. You want to become majority leader, just like we make Corazon majority leader? Is for making John Rubo chair of the real estate committee? Well, we're going to do the same for you. And that is why Shanae has been pissed off. But she only goes so far. Shanae, call it out. If you stood truly independent, maybe you could have been mayor of this city. But it's too late for that now because you decided not to do the right thing and play ball and completely forget about the affordable housing, the people that you were fighting for. And you're playing ball, so, it's over for you. They're in bed with Nick. Yeah, who's on top? This silly council is bought and paid for in full by corrupt establishment. That's my point to the city of Yonkers. Everyone who is in affordable housing should want to vote Tasha Diaz out. Actually, all of them. Everyone who is now having to move or think about moving or has to pay more in rent on the South and Southwest side should vote them all out. It's all about the developers. And these developers are making money off the city of Yonkers in many ways, even through the tax credits that they receive. The pilots, did you know that there is a market for municipal tax credits? Let's say I'm a politician and my friend's a contractor, but he doesn't have enough money to do a development for affordable housing or any development, but he can qualify for a tax credit. Well, I'll line him up with this hedge fund or this investment company that will take those tax credits, give them the money to build the affordable housing and make money off those tax credits. The people of the city of Yonkers get nothing ever, while these guys find all kinds of ways to make money and benefit and enrich themselves. And that is the only reason why they want your vote. That is the only reason why they want to be elected. That is the only reason why they want to represent the people of the city. And it's time that we stand up. Everyone, from the southeast side to the northeast, to the northwest, down to the southwest. Everyone, because everyone's getting shafted. Everyone. There are individuals that are corrupt, operating in the Democratic Party here in your city of Yonkers. They know about it. Tom Meyer knows about it. They're buddies. That's what his job is. The guy that you saw there coming out of court, who is the reason why Tasha Diaz, our majority leader, is in office, is a genius, a political genius, because he knows how to rig the game. He's been rigging the game for a very long time here in the city of Yonkers. People at the Westchester County Board of Elections need to stop giving out those ballots to people coming up there. It should be illegal to give someone else's ballot. So when a man like this pulls out a lot of money and pays people to go up to the Westchester County Board of Elections to collect a bunch of ballots, that's how they rig elections. And it has to stop, because the schools are getting crap. The students in the city are getting crap. Those that need housing, affordable housing, are getting crap. The average person is getting crap. And enough is enough. It's time to expose the corruption. And so everyone has to start to point these people out. Shame on you. Do you want to start seeing my new series? I'm going to do lifestyles of the rich and shameless here in the city of Yonkers. How many of them have these beautiful backyards and beautiful homes, multiple homes? Meanwhile, many of you are struggling to pay your mortgage or your rent. Taxes gone up. Can't afford to send your kids to a private school. But yet they have these extravagant backyards, fire pits and pools, gazebos and bars. And they did it through politics, by working in the city, taking extravagant vacations, no-show jobs, while you wake up every day and bust your ass and still can't seem to get ahead. It's crazy. None of these developments have low income on site. They put a few dollars in a fund and put the poor people far away from their nice new buildings, all with the votes and support of the likes of Shanae Corazon, Tasha, and Lakeisha. Exactly. Exactly. This is what saddens me. Like Shanae said, they have a super majority. That ordinance should have been passed. It should have been passed. But this was known, it was going to happen for a while. That's why these developers were already developing and building and buying land in Yonkers before they even voted on this ordinance. If they were so scared or could not do business or developments in Yonkers, if it was any more than 10%, why were they already starting? Why were they already buying land and surveying properties and all that? Did they know it was not going to get passed? Why do you think all those developers funded Lakeisha Collins Bellamy? Who do you think is behind Lakeisha Collins Bellamy? Wilson Kimball. Again, a woman that was investigated by the New York State Attorney or Inspector General. The woman that removed the people from the zoning board just to get developer-friendly individuals so they can pass everything, change zoning laws all over the city. And what did they get for it? A lot of money. Deals. It will be detailed. Waiting for the elections. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be awesome, these elections. It's going to be great. Effing sellouts. That's right. Sellouts. That's exactly what they are. They sold all of us out. All of us. Freddy, there's a way to find how much tax money is lost by these developments in actual dollars. Millions of dollars. Millions and millions of dollars that the city does not get. I want to show you a video here. Liam McLaughlin. He's talking here with where did I put that video? Did I not bring it up? So, Liam McLaughlin on there talking. So look, Judge Ada Medina, I'm sorry. This is a judge who has it right on her campaign flyer. Who is behind it? The man that was just coming out of that courthouse where that political analyst said that elected officials or officials should stay away from him. If you're a judge, how do you get in bed with a convicted felon? I mean, Yonkers, is that okay? Affordable should be at least 10%. They should be required to integrate by requiring the affordable units. Well, it is 10%. It should be at 20%. And they shouldn't be able to bypass it by putting some money into an affordable housing trust fund. Right? And where does that money go? Where does that money go? How much in millions people need to know? Oh, maybe I add up, but it's a lot. 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 And the problem is that they're bringing in a lot of people into the city, which are utilizing resources, police resources, fire resources, all emergency resources, waters, utilities, and they're not paying property taxes. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming in, tens of thousands, not paying, property taxes, not caring too much about the city because they just come here to lay their head, go back to work in the city, and so we're going to lose out because that's millions and millions of dollars that could have been coming to the city. And now what about MGM Grand? What's the deal there? How much is the city going to get when they come into town? Right? And who's going to be negotiating that? Because we should be getting a lot of money from MGM Grand. In fact, we should be getting so much money that all of the schools should be renovated and be state of the art. Every year, one school should be completely redone while a new one is built. So, they're selling us out. They don't care about us. It's all about the big companies that are coming in, the developers, the MGM Grands. That's their primary focus. Shanae got with the program. Tasha got with the program. She killed the housing ordinance. They don't care about affordable housing, folks. If you don't see the writing on the wall, they're pushing a certain demographic out. That's it. They're not going to fix up Getty Square. They're going to let it go as bad as possible. And that's probably why they never cared about the area, because they knew the development was going to come in. So let it go to crap. Let the values go low as possible. They buy it up cheap and then justify why they're gentrifying it. Why not bring companies in, right? Like Amazon. And I said this before. Someone said, oh, they're not union. So what? They bring jobs. You know, and not to like so well like that, but I'm just saying it don't matter. They bring jobs. You know, they bring jobs. Right. And I know because where I have, you know, where I have other home also, but I never worked for the city. All right. I didn't work for the city and it wasn't taxpayer money. But I do have, you know, elsewhere in another state. And, you know, one of the big employers of people that rent from me is Amazon. And they folks have, you know, homes. They're renting homes, 2 and 3 bedroom homes, 1 and 2 bathrooms with backyards. They're not stacked on each other and run down apartments, barely able to afford it. Right. And, you know, so it may not be the biggest home. We're talking about maybe 900 square feet to, you know, 1,200, you know, even 1,300 square feet, you know, but, you know, at least 1,000 square feet, and they have their own space, a yard, a backyard. And Amazon is one of the employers there. And there's other distribution companies and warehouses where a lot of the people work. And, you know, they make a living wage. They work and they live in a home, you know, not a stacked up, you know, building on top of each other. They take care of it. They cut their grass and stuff, you know, and they're paying, you know, I charge anywhere between $700 to $900 a month. You know, and it's obviously over there, cost of living is a little different, but, you know, they have jobs. They have these distribution companies, Amazons and stuff like that. Why don't we bring that stuff here instead of development? So that way people could have jobs and people could, you know, afford to live here. Instead of building 7 buildings, luxury building, excuse me, Xtel over there by the water, why not had put Amazon? When that Queens deal went bad, I would have called up Amazon and said, hey, you want to come to Yonkers? We got a spot for you over here. You could hire a bunch of people from Yonkers. Right? And then some of them could even got into driving the trucks and stuff like that, because you could open up your own business with the trucks and stuff. You know, it's just an idea. You know, Amazon wouldn't touch Yonkers with political corruption rampant here. They don't pay off people like Nick's, you know, and that's sad. That's unfortunate. Rather than bringing in jobs, bringing in companies with jobs, they sought developers to build luxury apartments. If the majority of people, the average person makes only $35,000 a year, what are you saying when you're bringing in luxury apartments that are costing $3,000, $3,500, look, $3,000 a month, right? $36,000 a year. If the average person makes $35,000 a year, they can't afford a $3,000 a month apartment. They'll have to borrow money just to be able to pay their other bills and even, you know, completely pay the rent. So think about that. So the fact that they brought all that in here obviously says we want you out. There's no jobs coming in. There's no jobs coming in. No jobs. Everybody's not going to work in the film industry here. It's a fact. And so it's all BS. Shanae, when they say that, when Corazon says that, when whoever says that, it's all BS. It's all BS. They're completely changing Yonkers. They're changing the demographic. They want people out. And once everything is completed, you'll see. You'll see. There'll be anything barely left at anyone that's there now, unless they, you know, the rich folks that are coming in that, you know, could afford. It's going to be really nothing left. That's what it's going to be. And they've all lied to us. And I just want to show you that from the past. I'm going to show you who the individuals are. And I'm going to continue to show you that information. I'm going to break it down. John Limo is going to be coming on the show this Thursday. Nick Spano is going to negotiate for MGM and himself. MGM will pay nothing other than $25,000 a month for Nick, you know, and it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate, you know, so as long, whoever pays, you know, then you could come here. As long as you pay me. Doesn't matter. what it does for the community. Doesn't matter, right? Anyway, John Cade is going to be coming on the show on Thursday. He's going to be talking about, some things here. We're going to be talking about exactly this, the lies that have been perpetuated by Yonkers City Council. They have not represented the people. I'm sorry. This is not being negative. I mean, come on. How many times are we going to continue to talk about it? We're going to go in circles and talk about it. This was 2 years ago, still talking about it. Some of them been there even longer, 2017, 2019. What have they done? What has changed in Yonkers besides a bunch of luxury apartments? That's it. That is it. That's the only thing that's changed. That's it. Remember that. I'm Freddy Vazquez, folks. Join me on Thursday where I'll have John Cater, and we'll be touching on a lot of things. It's going to be an interesting interview, and that's going to be broadcast on both my platform here, Basement Politics, also on Inside Yonkers. So you can catch it on both platforms as well as YouTube, right? So make sure you catch that. And also, again, John Cater wants you guys to know he is looking to support candidates. Right? He's going to give campaign space. He will match whatever you raise. He will help with fundraisers if, bringing some people in. He will also provide with internet, computer, and supplies. Basically, he's looking to support the right candidates in every which way for District 1 that's coming up next year. District 1, 3, and 5, as well as the mayor's seat. And this is why I'm over here shouting out to you folks that it's important to vote, while I'm telling all of the people. And I'm looking for someone who can talk fluent Spanish to do this with me, because I want to communicate to all of my Hispanic, brothers and sisters here in the city of Yonkers and communicate to them exactly what's happening in Spanish clearly, because I can't do it that good. I cannot. I would be all messed up. And I want to make sure that they get the message. So anyone who speaks fluent Spanish that's interested in joining me, being a host on Basement Politics, relaying the message to the people of Yonkers in Spanish, please reach out to me at politicswithfred@gmail.com. That's politicswithfred@gmail.com. I need you guys to come out and vote. I'm going to be walking around in the community here in the coming months. I'm going to be knocking on doors. I'm going to be speaking to the people. I'm going to be asking you, what is it that we need here in the city of Yonkers? I already know some of the big things we need, but I want to hear from you guys. So I'm going to be walking around in all parts of the city of Yonkers. So don't mind me. Please don't be concerned. If I come knocking on your door, if I just pull over and I start talking to you at a gas station or while you're walking up the street, like the one gentleman, all right, the wife told me he met me the other day. He was walking up the street and I just stopped him and started talking to him. So don't be alarmed. I want to hear what you think. Your opinion matters. You count. And I want to encourage you to come out and vote this coming year because it's important. And to all my Latinos, 43% Latinos here in the city of Yonkers. And while I'm not saying to vote based on race, nationality, gender, sexual preference, color of your hair, whether or not you like to pick your nose while driving, but I would like to see a Latino mayor. I think that would be dope. Latino Tina, mayor. That would be cool. 43% here in the city of Yonkers. And by the way, I did share a post that, a lot more Hispanics are becoming Republicans. That's crazy. I'm a Democrat, but a lot more Hispanics are becoming Republicans. And, I can kind of almost understand why. But Freddy Vazquez, I'm a registered Democrat, but, I'm for the people. That's my priority. But I would like to see a Latino mayor if we could find a qualified candidate, of course. Must be qualified. Being Latino is not the only qualification. If that's all you have, you're not going to make it. Okay, so I would like to see that. Hector Lopez, let's Hector Lopez. Hector Lopez for mayor. William Terrero, Corazon Pineda. Folks, it's got to be someone else. So I like to see that. Hopefully, we'll see some new candidates come out, and we can be excited about some of these new candidates coming out because it's time for change. I'm Freddy Vazquez. Thank you for joining me again tonight. And again, don't be alarmed if I come up and talk to you. I want to know what's going on. What do you feel about the current conditions of the city of Yonkers? Where we headed? Are you for all the developments, the MGM Grand, or are you not? You know, would you like to see someone come in and maybe pump the brakes a little bit? These developers are going to be working hard against anybody who comes in trying, no, you're going to mess up our money, not our money. Well, you mess with my business, now I'm going to mess with your business, all right? I'm going to stop your cash flow, under the table money and all that corrupt money that you guys are getting to screw the city over. All of you, because I'm truly going to do a segment called Lifestyles of the Rich and Shameless, Yonkers edition. Everyone is going to be on my episodes, on my series, and we're going to show all the family. I'm going to put the groups, you know, the family, the groups. We're going to do an episode on each family group. This is what jobs they have. This is how much they're making. This is the houses that they got. This is the cars, the jewelry, the vacations, you know, the champagne bottles, the Cartier watches. Yeah, Cartier watches. Man, you council people are doing awesome, man. Cartier watches? Yeah, that's right, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. We're going to show it all. Let's shame them. Shame on you. While so many people in the city of Yonkers are homeless, losing their homes, losing their business, struggling to get their businesses going. And you guys are over here robbing and stealing. Have a good night, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. It's only going to get better. Thank you, folks. That was your Basement Politics episode for tonight. I went a little too long. They going over an hour. But thank you for joining me. I appreciate it, folks. Again, please spread the word. Talk to your friends. Talk to family members. Let them know what's going on and let them know that they need to come out and vote. We have to spread the message, word of mouth. So it's important. You don't have to tell them about basement politics, but at least tell them that our corrupt officials are screwing us over here in the city of Yonkers, and it's time to vote them out. I mean, how much more are they going to have to show us, right? So tell your friends, tell your family members, talk about it amongst yourselves in your workplace, within your community, because it's going to take each and every one of us to bring change for the people. Imagine a city that had jobs for the people. Imagine a city where the taxes didn't always go up because we have to pick up the slack for what the developers get to keep in their pocket. Imagine a city that wasn't so crowded. Imagine a city where the roads were smooth and you didn't damage your car every other block. Imagine a city where the youth had somewhere to go and be engaged. Imagine a city that had sports teams in their schools, where families could go out and watch their kids play and win championships, where the girls and guys could be cheerleaders, track teams, volleyball teams, all schools having a team. Imagine a sports program with in elementary school even. It's not unheard of. It's in a lot of places, just not Yonkers. But we need the right people to bring that here. I'm Freddy Vazquez. Have a blessed night.
Freddy wins. Fatality. Freddy wins.
Imagine a city
Fatality.
where you had true equal opportunity employment.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
We're going to leave it where it is. Let's vote on this. Let's get it popping. Like I said, political games that are being played. You could have, like I said, political games that are being played. You could have, like I said, political games that are being played. We're going to leave it where it is. Let's vote on this. Let's get it popping.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vazquez.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
No!